different guys on the line this week. How's the preparation going?
Different guy. Oh yeah, with Banks down. He's doing a good job. Preparation's been great. The guys they always get work. The second team guys always get a handful of reps every single team period, so they're always being prepared. John, for example, every week would get, in some periods he'd get 2 at right guard, 2 at center, 2 at left guard. Other periods you get 1 at center, 1 at right guard, depending upon the length of the period. And then service scout team, he'd take reps as well. So at the end of the day, we make sure that those guys get almost as much work, as many reps as they would get if they were starters. They get them between the splitting time with the starters and the scout team. So we try to always have them prepared that way so that when they do have to step in, they got a chance. So.
Are you expecting Trent to be back for the game?
The injury thing's the ball's not in my court on the injury thing. So I just, whoever's there, we get them coached up and let's go play.
Which is he in the room when you guys are going through film and talking about practice?
How much what?
How much of a coach is he also in the room?
Trent? Oh, Trent is, my meeting room is the meeting room's. Here's a shocker. I talk a lot. Okay, I like to talk. So I talk a lot in there. I'm always the way I coach is I kind of not just do that, kind of tell stories, and I talk through the play and then every now and then I'll have an offshoot to tell a story about a player I used to coach, and it's just kind of like this thing turns out to be, but Trent will, all of a sudden, if he's whispering over there in the corner to Jalen or to McKivitz or somebody, and I'll just, hey, speak up and say what you're going to say. Well, I was just saying, da-da-da-da. So he's always looking, always thinking. And he's always respectful and doesn't want to, overstep his bounds. But I'm always like, Trent, just say what you want to say, man. And if I don't agree, he and I have a great relationship. I just say, Trent, I don't agree with you. And he may still disagree. We may agree to disagree, and later on he's like, I'm right, or later on I'll say, no, you're right. That was a great idea. And oftentimes the guys do it. I just want to tell me so that we can, because I don't, I've got a lot of answers, but I definitely don't claim to have them all. So.
Halfway point here. How would you evaluate the way the right side of your line has played through the first 8?
It was really cool to do the study. I enjoyed it. I told Kyle when I came back, I said, losing 3 games in a row, obviously this is an NFL season. This is when you really find out what you're made of, when you go through the tough times. And it's been really cool not cool. It's been interesting to see how we've come through it, and where we're going to end up with this whole thing being where we are today. When you evaluate the guys, I said, what's really funny is, take Spencer Burford, for example, take Cohn. They've gotten better. You watch the cut-ups, you're like, gosh, look at him in Pittsburgh, look at him in I don't remember the second game, but look at him each week, and then all of a sudden look at him today. And then I remember last season, and they've gotten better. Does it always show up in like you'd say the stat line, right? You'd say, does it always show up in wins and losses? Always show up in their production during the game? Not always, but yet you see the little things that the building blocks of what make a better football player. And I said to Kyle the other day, I said, and here's a shocker. We play football every day. They get a chance to get better. And they play in games, you get a chance to get better. All of a sudden you take away football in the off season, the developmental time, it's harder. And so this is when they should improve. And if you go about it the right way, if they approach it the right way, you don't get stuck on W's and L's and get stuck on how do we improve. And then what's my role in that in helping us win games? I'm very happy with their progress. You'll always hear me say it. There's not a guy up there that's playing well enough. Everybody can get better, including me.
What does this upcoming game mean to you, given the fact that you're in the midst of a 3-game losing streak? You just alluded to it.
Yeah, no, it's anytime you don't want to lose more than 1 in a row. You don't want to stack. You want to stack wins. No matter how you're playing, you just want to win games. This thing is about winning, and so you got to win a game. And no matter what happens, it's the most important game right now. The most important thing is having a great Thursday practice and getting ourselves ready in this phase of what we prepare for, because that's going to do the best thing to help us again and prepare again on Friday, prepare again on Saturday. That'll give us the best chance to have a chance to win the game on Sunday. But you got to do the things it takes in the situations, and that's normally what it comes down to. There's a handful of plays in situations that you do or don't execute that end up winning and losing the game for the most part in the NFL. And it's very important, obviously, that you win every game.
How much of the issues with the running game the past few games have to do with opponents coming up and saying, we're taking this away? And how much does it have to do with, no, there was lanes there, we just didn't hit them?
Yeah, it's been the same. It's almost been the same every week. We talked about it a couple weeks ago. We haven't had a chance to talk since the Cincinnati game. We talked about how the possessions went in the Minnesota game. We talked about the Cleveland game and how we were always behind the 8 ball and second and longs. We never could get any rhythm going. And the Cincinnati game, what happened was, just let's start second half. You come out, you have an 8, 9, 10-yard run, and then you get called holdings, 1st and 20. We overcame it, but same thing happens the first play of the game. We get 8 yards on a play or 9 yards on a play, and then we run a power and we don't get a yard. And we run a short yards run and we don't get a yard. Now, is that the fault of the run? Is that us? We didn't block it good enough. The defense played well, but we didn't get another set of. We're not getting that next set of downs to keep that thing going and to get a couple more runs called. And then whatever's been going on, it's always a team thing. Whatever's going on as far as possessions, whatever's going on as far as time in the game, whatever's going on with score, it can kind of affect how you do things. So I think it's not. I don't look at it as a bad trend, because when I look at practice, when I study the cut-ups, it's not like, oh crap, man, we're not, so-and-so's not hitting the hole, or we're not blocking this guy, or the defense is, oh my God, this is the hardest defense we've ever faced. No, it's not. It's just the way it's kind of fallen right now. And obviously we have to do a better job. I said it last week as well. We've got to do a better job first and foremost, because if we block better, create big holes, it's easier to run.
Chris, what's the challenge this week with Jacksonville's D-line? They got Trayvon Walker and Josh Allen off the edges. What do you see?
Yeah, again, we face them every week. It seems like great pass rushers off the edge. So Colton and the tackle, Trent or Jalen, have a great challenge in front of them. Everybody's got to do their part to help make sure that we don't, we keep our quarterback upright and doing what he's got to do. They play great team defense. Those guys are good players. The interior players, they haven't had the production with the sacks, but they pressure the quarterback, and they're a very, very good team defense. They're very well coached. They get to the ball. The last 3 defenses. When you take all of them been well coached, but you go back to Cleveland. Cleveland's one of the top defenses in the league. You look at how Cincinnati's team played last week, and this team this week, very, very, very well coordinated, good job. Minnesota's in the first year with Flores up there, and they did a good job, but they're a little different place in the development of their defense than those other 3 teams. These are really well coached defenses that are on point, and there's not a lot of holes in them. So you got to be really good at what you're doing, and you have to make plays and convert so you can get more sets of downs. You get more sets of downs, you're going to have chances, and that's what we've got to be able to do.
You're seeing good edge rushers every week. Are there more, the depth of pass rusher around the league? Is it just at a different level than maybe it was?
I don't know. I mean, yeah, it was funny the other day, Trent and I were talking, and he goes, I mentioned DeMarcus Ware to these guys, and they don't even know who DeMarcus Ware is. He shocks him. So I say, that's what it's like getting old, bro. But you sit there and you're just like, hey, man, this guy, you go through the league, and everybody has somebody who flashes. I don't know that, it's hard to say. It's just the generational thing. It's the Kobe, Michael Jordan. It's the Reggie White versus Bruce Smith versus the era of the guys today. It's just so hard to say, but there are a lot of talented rushers. I would say that college football, right, I guess they're throwing the ball more, and I don't know if they are or not, but it seems like it. So there's more chances to rush the passer. There's going to be more opportunities for guys to develop as pass rushers, and there's more, we get guys that are more developed as pass blockers than they are as run blockers. So I think the whole game has kind of gone that way. So there may be a few more, but I don't know if they're the elite. But man, it seems like every week somebody has one, and you have to. I think that's where people invest their picks. Everybody knows if you can, get after a quarterback. The best way to stop a good quarterback is if you can get in his face and rush him. And the more guys you have that can rush, the better the defense.
Addressing the team right after the Bengals loss, what struck you about his message?
Oh, I just he's a great guy, great leader. And it was heartfelt. It wasn't lip service, in my opinion. That's what I liked about it. Whatever he would have said, it was heartfelt. He meant it. I touch the football every play. I'm responsible. I got to take care of the football. And I think that was the crux of it. I don't remember it all exactly, but I just like the fact that he's accountable and not afraid to say it's my fault. He's not pointing the finger at anybody, saying, I got to take responsibility for this. I got to make sure I do a better job. You guys have trusted me to do this, and I got to do better. And it's the response you would hope a guy would have when things didn't go as well. To say it was bad or whose fault, I'm not kicking into all that, but at least in his mind, what he felt was his responsibility, he needed to do a better job of, and he addressed it with the team. Which then, who's going to tell, what is it, the emperor's clothes or whatever, the elephant in the room, right? Who's going to say that it's the elephants in the room is there were interceptions and they've cost us the last couple of games or whatever it is that has happened, and he took accountability for it.
Playing Chase Young in the previous seasons?
Chase Young was I'm always involved in the draft process with the D-line and the linebackers, and then Kyle knows to have me leave the room when the DBs show up because I'll fall asleep. So, but when the rushers are there, man, I'm there watching. And I remember Chase coming out, and I thought Chase a really, really good player, great athleticism, great speed, great length. It just, for whatever reason, it hasn't all come together consistently. You could make a highlight reel of the guy that's like, holy cow, this guy's phenomenal. But then the play in and play out, and I can't put my finger on it because we don't play him that much over the last couple of years, once or twice. I haven't studied him that much, but he's a very, very good player, and it's just a matter of, I think, getting the op to be consistent.
Thank you, Coach.
All right, guys, thank you.